The Lord be with you.
Let us pray. Almighty God, we offer our thanks and praise to you for this cathedral family, for this community of love gathered together by our prayers and labors, those whom you have sent to minister and to preach your word to all. We give thanks for all those servants and witnesses of time past. We remember with grateful hearts those who generously gave of their resources for what we have now to enjoy. We give thanks for this meal and all who have made it possible. Grant us all things necessary for our common life, and in all that we do, may we perceive what is right and pursue it. Bring us to be of one heart and mind within your holy church, to your honor and glory now and forever. Amen.
Before I call the meeting to order, I want to thank Susan Forsberg for the wonderful slideshow of highlights of 2025. Thank you, Susan. Where is she? And secondly, I want to thank Maggie, just leaving the room there, for the wonderful lunch, the invisible chef. She's truly invisible right now. I'm calling to order this annual meeting of St. Paul's Cathedral. Please do continue to eat. I don't mean to keep you from your food, but we have a little exercise to do to find out how many qualified members we have so that we have the right record in our minutes. So here I'm going to read the qualifications for voting members. And if you believe you are qualified after I've read them out, please raise your hand and keep it raised for a couple of minutes while people count. The following shall be qualified electors: any person of 16 or more years of age who is an attendant at worship and a regular contributor of record, that's financial contributor, and who for the previous 60 days shall have been registered in the congregation as a baptized person or communicant member. And that's the diocesan, and I think there may be. And chapter policy will have been a regular pledging contributor of record for the last 6 months prior to the vote and regularly attending worship. So if you believe you are an eligible member, please raise your hand. And somebody's counting. Who's counting? Okay. I think, we've got one over the last line over there. You can put your hands down on this side of the room. And there's one more column for me. Okay. 11, 12, 13, 17, 24, 5, 6, and 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I make that 134. 134. So to Michael.
Dean Penny. We show a 134 members of the church. We have a quorum at this time.
Okay, we have a quorum, so we're going to go ahead. Thank you. And I believe if you are a voting member, you have a ballot, or if you're at the top table, you will get a ballot momentarily. Need a couple over here. I'm going to call for a motion to appoint Michael Kilpatrick as our secretary for the meeting. Do I see a motion? Thank you, Alan, and Susan Hulbert is seconding. Without objection. Anybody objecting? No, I didn't think so. And now I go to the agenda of this meeting. Do I see a motion? I see a hand. There's Susan Hulbert and Alan again. You guys are on the ball. Any discussion of the agenda changes? I am going to ask for your indulgence in the event that we need a second ballot. I'm going to move it further down the agenda because otherwise poor Ken Tranbarger would have to keep talking until the first ballots are counted, and that doesn't seem fair. Okay, I'll do this properly. If you are in favor of the agenda, please say aye. Aye. Against? Thank you. Now we move to the minutes. A little bit more material. You should have seen the minutes have been posted on the website for some time. The minutes of last year's meeting. Yes, it was a long time ago. And for that reason, Chapter got to look at them last February while it was still fresh in their memories. And so we made some minor adjustments at that time as a tentative approval. And now do I hear or see a motion to accept the annual meeting minutes of last year? I see Paul Hagan and I see Lucinda. And yes, please, I'd like a ballot. Thank you. Okay. We have the motion on the floor for the minutes of last year's meeting. Does anyone have corrections to suggest? I'm hearing none. If you are in favor of last year's minutes being approved, please say aye. Aye. And against, say nay. Thank you. And now I'm going to hand off to the Chancellor, who's going to talk about voting.
Hi everybody, my name is Mark Vonderhaar, I'm the Chancellor. So I'm just here to explain how we're... Oh, okay, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? No. So voting, you've got two ballots that you've been provided. The way you vote is for the chapter, there's 4 names that you have to check. And what we're going to do we're going to do the chapter first. So I'd ask you to put the one for the delegate ballot, just put it aside so we don't get confused, we don't collect the wrong ballots on it. And what you can do is you can select 4 names on that ballot. And then we're just going to wait and we'll go around and collect it. And then after that, then we'll collect the next one. But let's do one at a time. So again, what you're voting for now is the chapter ballot. Go ahead. And you're only voting for 4 names on this. Please pass them forward. We're only collecting chapter votes right now. Kathleen, are we ready? Last call for 2026 chapter ballots. Once, twice, we are closed. Okay, so now we're going to count those, and there'll be a count and a 2 count. But right now we're going to do the 2026 lay delegate ballot. You get to select 5 names on this. 5 names. When you're done, please pass them down to the head of the table.
I'm gonna walk on the side. Sounds good. Yeah. We can text you. We can text you.
One more check for the lay delegate ballot. Last call again for the 2026 delegate ballot. All right, we're closing the voting. I'll pass it off. Yay. Good job.
Hi there. Hi there. Is that better? Okay. Nutmeg and Olive. Nutmeg and Olive is 22 years old this year. Closer, closer, like this. Oh my gosh, I'm going to chew it. How can I? All right. Nutmeg and Olive is 22 years old. We own 6% of the building next to us, 525 Olive. And we have the Cathedral offices located there. And we have two spaces that I'm pleased to say are going to be paying rent by the end of March. I'll say that again because it's a very important step for our thing. But before that, we had some activity this year. We had retirement of a couple of not board members, of managers. Mark Lester and Jim Greer decided to move aside and take leave of their offices in the as managers of the LLC. It's a great loss of historical knowledge and hard work on both their parts. But they were replaced by Russell Kihara and John Powell, and they joined Dean Penny, Betsy, and me as managers. Tom Delaney is still our project manager. Kathleen Burgess takes care of our administration, and the Sixth and Olive Association manager. And Eric Sacco-Panetta does our accounting and audit. Roland Tacte has served as our chapter representative, and Kendall Squires in Chapel Hill, in North Carolina, serves as our manager emeritus. Another change took place. Andrew Brooks was replaced by Mark Vonderhaar as our LLC support and legal help. With Tom's help, as I told you, we'll have rental being paid by the end of March, hopefully by both parties. Heavenly Bodega, can you believe that name, is in place. We didn't ask them to do that. They just figured it out themselves. And they started operating just before the end of 2025. Their offerings are varied and delicious. And the II, which is the EYE, and sounds to Navy people like something that they do. It's an optical firm. They should start operation in the first quarter. Kathleen has made certain that our expectations of the sort of HOA that we have with Graystar and the Cathedral and us are the three owners of the building next to us. And she's now been made the manager of that organization. There's three people. We have one vote, they have two. But we so far they've been working very well with us. And she's got them working perfectly. And she's also organized the search and the selection of a property management committee group that will be taking charge as soon as we finish this meeting. We had property taxes, as I think I've mentioned before, that were outstanding, where we were having to pay them but we didn't get any. We didn't think we owed them, and we got the law firms to agree that we didn't owe them, and now we hopefully will get our refunds back within a couple more months. We hope, because the cathedral space, of course, is not is exempt from property taxes. Our investments went up by $1.2 million last year, and after you consider our contribution to the cathedral and the property, the tenant improvement monies that we give our new tenants, our investment value is now $7.1 million. So I want to thank you all for the support we've had from the beginning, 22 years, and hope it'll be another 22 that we keep going and continue to pay the cathedral as much as we can. So thank you very much.
And Ken is the last man standing of the original board of managers of Nutmeg and Olive, and he has been on this. Did you say 22 years, Ken? That's above and beyond, really. Thank you, Ken. This whole project has been a long time coming. Before I turn the mic over to Betsy for the financial report, you might be wondering about the annual report packet. It's, last I heard, it was about 87 pages long. Kathleen has been working on it all weekend to pull it together, and there were some technical hitches, but that will be available for you to read at your leisure. It'll be on the website on Monday, so watch for that. It has reports from all our ministry areas, as well as our financials for the year, so, or at least through November? December, through December. Okay, well, our accounts department has worked really hard and fast to get those numbers. And speaking of which, I'm going to ask our wonderful treasurer, Betsy Monsell, to come and tell us how our finances are doing.
All right. Let me get very close so you can hear me. All right. I am pleased to report that we had a very good year financially at St. Paul's Cathedral. In your packet, you have all the financial statements. And the first financial statement is the balance sheet, which includes our operating account. It also includes our special funds, which are given by people for specific purposes. It has our endowment funds. It has the major gift campaign for the Music Center Fund, and also our Nutmeg and Olive LLC balances. So you can see that we've grown to a pretty large enterprise, over $30 million in total. The balance sheet shows assets, which are what we own, and liabilities, which are what we owe. And we are in the fortunate position of having no long-term debt and growing reserves. So that's a good report. So overall, you can see that the cathedral has grown into a pretty sizable operation under Penny's tenure, and we're in healthy shape. The next chart shows our operating budget for all of 2025 compared with the budget that we had. I'm pleased to say that financial results for operations for the year were right on track with what we budgeted. Our Director of Finance, Erin Sacco-Pineda, develops a budget each year, which is then approved by chapter, and the staff do their very best to keep spending in line with the budget. If you look closely at it, you'll see that a few areas were over budget, but a few areas were under budget. So in the end, our income and expenses for the year were both just over $2.1 million, which was just $10,000 under budget. I don't think you can get any closer than that. So good job. The next chart is the operating budget for 2026. And you can see that operating expenses for this year 2026 is $2.2 million, which is about 5% higher than last year's budget. And there are three major reasons for the increase. We've provided a 2.5% cost of living increase for our staff. We want to make sure that we're keeping pace with inflation. And also the costs of health insurance have increased over 5%. We've added some additional hours for a music assistant, for AV support, and communications activities on campus because those activities have increased significantly and we needed to add a little bit to staff to support that. We are very fortunate to have received a 3-year grant to help cover the cost of the music assistant, and we've also added some additional funding for children's Christian formation in line with the strategic plan. Our common life share, which we pay to the Diocese of San Diego, increased by $17,000 this year. So when we compiled all the budgeted needs and the available resources for 2026, we forecast a $180,000 deficit. That means our revenues fall a bit short of what we need to provide an adequate budget. So the chapter authorized a special draw of $180,000 from the Cathedral Fund, which is part of the Cathedral's long-term enduring gifts investments to balance the budget. This decision was made after careful consideration by chapter. We are very blessed to have the resources that we do, but we are also aware that our annual pledge income of $1 million covers less than half of what is needed to fund the Cathedral's ministries. So we're all working very hard to increase other sources of income and investments in order to make sure that we can sustain our ministries now and into the future. Turning to the next page, which is special funds. This shows all the activity in all the various special funds held by the Cathedral for various groups in the church, like Friends of Cathedral Music, Showers of Blessing, Outreach, Evangelism, and Women Together. And you can review these to see what funds your particular group or activity had on hand at the end of 2025. The next page shows the Music Center campaign and construction. And as you know, we completed a successful major gifts campaign to raise $2.5 million last year to create a music center in the lower level of the Great Hall building. And construction of the Music Center is now nearing completion. And this page in the packet shows all the activity for the project through the end of 2025. And so far, costs for the project are on track with the original plan. Yay. Your treasurer worries about that. And the final page shows Nutmeg and Olive's financial results for the year. Nutmeg and Olive had an excellent year, and as Ken said, the 2 commercial units were successfully leased, and the market value of the investments was up 18%, and tenants will begin paying rent in 2026. So that is all good because Nutmeg and Olive, their investments and the rental income will help fund the Cathedral's ministries for future years. So it's an important part of what we do. Thank you. Do you want me to keep going? Yes. Next, new hat. The next charts show our enduring gifts, which are the Cathedral's long-term endowment funds, and they play an important role in funding the Cathedral's ministries every year. Over the last 10 years, we've been able to grow the value of our funds from $2.8 million to over $7.5 million, and we've been able to more than triple the size of the annual income to support the cathedral's ministries. Enduring Gifts will provide $445,000 to the cathedral this year, which cover about 20% of the cathedral's expenses. Enduring Gifts exist because faithful people have left bequests and given gifts over the last 100 years to help support everything we do today and into the future. Without this income and the income from the LLC, we would have to have a much smaller staff and overall budget. It was a really great year for our Enduring Gifts funds. Both equity and bond markets performed positively, and our investments earned over 18% for the year. That's great, and we've had 2 double-digit years in a row. So the value of our investments appreciated over $1 million. So that also makes your treasurer worry, because we know what goes up sometimes comes down. So stay tuned next year. We began in 2025 with $6.8 million of long-term investments. We added $58,000 to the fund from bequests and gifts. Over $34,000 from Ann. Is it Vafis gave us a bequest. $10,000 from Jim Langston's estate, and also $3,200 in gifts for the Harold T. Lewis Music Endowment Fund. The cathedral took our normal annual distribution of 5%, which was $307,000, and 2 extra distributions approved by chapter. One was to help balance the budget for 2025, that was $191,000, and a second one of $25,500 to fund buildings and grounds to address flooding that we had early in 2025. But even though we took some extra draws out of the fund, overall the fund balance increased $704,000, and we ended the year with a balance of $7.5 million in enduring gifts. No, we didn't. 307. Well, and then it turned out that we did have a profit in 2025 in the operating fund, and so we actually are able to give back a bit to the enduring gifts, and that's why the actual result for 2025 says 0, because we scooped some of it and we're going to give it back because we didn't need it. So we're very grateful to all of those who provided funds over the years. The people who have given have left a wonderful legacy to the cathedral. It enables us to do much more than our pledges alone can do. And I encourage everyone to keep the cathedral in mind when you are doing or updating your estate plans. It's an easy way to give a gift that goes on forever and helps ensure the cathedral will continue to play a vital role in our community for generations to come. Thank you.
We have a fantastic financial team and great accounting processes and policies now. So thank you to Betsy and Erin and Wes, our bookkeeper. They do a terrific job. And for those of you who are new to the Episcopal Church, you might be used to the congregation voting on the budget. In the Episcopal Church, it was the way the Episcopal Church runs was founded by the same guys that founded Congress. I think we're doing better than that right now. But it's a distributed type of authority. So chapter votes on the budget and on the finances. That's not a full congregational thing. So that's why we're not asking you to vote in this meeting, but just reporting to you what chapter has already voted on. And now I'm going to ask Canon Richard Hogue to come and tell us about stewardship and the Music Center.
Thank you, Dean Penny. There you go. No problem. All right. Can everybody hear? All right. Excellent. I am very pleased to report to you that when you get my annual report tomorrow or Tuesday, it will already be out of date. Because we are now at $1.03 million for our annual pledge campaign, with 201 pledges. So please give yourselves a round of applause for your generosity. That's amazing. For folks who wondered why we set the goal to a similar place as before, when Demetrius Gregg, our stewardship chair, and I consulted with some of the members of the stewardship committee, we decided that we wanted to go with a goal that seemed like it was reasonable and achievable, and that this congregation could really fall into well. And I think we're being proven right so far. So we're grateful for that. In future years, we may ask you to stretch more, but we also understand that cost of living here in San Diego is insane. I just got a mortgage, so I know how it is. And thank you for helping me with that. I do want to say that of the 201 pledges, we had 11 that had not pledged the previous year. Not all of those were brand new. Some of those were folks who returned, from a previous time. But I can say with confidence that 7 of those were brand new pledges. So your evangelism efforts, your smiling faces, and treating each other nicely at the door does really well. There are other ways to support stewardship as well. Before I go any further, I do want to stop to thank Demetrius Gregg, Justin Lewis, our Dean's Warden, Kimberly Fernandez, and Sue Kelly and Wanda Parada for being part of the stewardship team and making that all run. So please give them a round of applause. They support everything that happens here behind the scenes, and I'm truly grateful for their support and their collegialness. The other things I wanted to say, that there are always other ways to support St. Paul's beyond the stewardship campaign itself, and so I was told to be sure to mention a couple of those to you in this moment. The first is that on February 17th, we'll be welcoming folks for the Zydeco Mass for Fat Tuesday. That will be a pancake dinner. I will happily take volunteers to help make pancakes and sausages here in the Great Hall kitchen for that reception following the service. And I see Betsy's pointing to people, so I will follow up with you, Betsy. And God bless you, whoever she's pointing to. The next opportunity is the very next morning with Ashes to Go. Craig Monsell has got a sheet outside as you leave. If you are at all called to do Ashes to Go, for those who aren't familiar, it's a way to take the Ash Wednesday service to the streets, as it were, and to meet people where they are rather than trying to get them here. We, of course, love it when people do gather here, but this is one of the ways that we can extend ourselves out into the world. So please sign up with Greg if you feel so called. Craig, in the back. And then last will be community dinner. The community dinner party projects will go on throughout this year at various times. Because we are trying to stay within the budget constraints that we have, it cannot be what we are used to at this stage, but we are hoping that a combination of me grilling stuff and maybe some potluck, we can welcome even more people into St. Paul's in that not church, but still church setting. So I encourage you to think about that, and if you have any thoughts or strong feelings about maybe helping out with that, please come see me, and again, God bless you as well. With that, I think that's my stewardship report for you today. So thank you all again for your generosity. And remember, the pledge campaign never ends, so you can always donate to St. Paul's this year. All right, very good. The Music Center progress. It's hard to believe how far it's come, but right now we are projected, and I lean heavily on the word projected here, to open in the end of March of this year. Do not be surprised if that changes. The project, first of all, thank you all again for your support of that mission and ministry, for the Music Center, for our music ministers who bring so much beauty and grace to our space. They haven't had a home before, as you know, so this will be a wonderful new home. And part of what you're seeing outside, I know it's a bit hideous. You don't like the green chain link fence, anybody? That is to protect your investment. That is right now a waterproofing project for the entire basement section of the walls along the inner courtyard, so that the flooding that we've previously experienced will stop. And we are very fortunate that we had the wisdom to put enough contingencies in the Music Center campaign budget that it can cover the $170,000 cost that is. It's not a joke, folks. This is an old building, which we love dearly, but it's not cheap to fix. So thank you for providing that contingency along with everything else that goes into making the Music Center happen. Again, projected March opening, but don't be surprised if that gets kicked back some, just because it's construction. If you've ever done a renovation of your home or built anything, you know that never goes according to plan. So the good news is that while we have had those setbacks, work is full speed ahead, and we have you to thank for that. Thank you so much. That concludes my report.
This is where the instruction "vamp till ready" comes in. We don't know how long it'll take them to count the ballots. We must only hope and pray that we don't get a tie between 4 and 5, in which case we would have to have a second ballot. But we just have to wait and see, because the counting team is working as fast as they can. While we await their results, let me honor and thank those who are retiring from chapter as of this meeting. Please stand. Sue Kelly has been our People's Warden. Paul Tessier. Wait. Blair Schammel and Phyllis Lengel. So please stand if you're here. There's Blair. There. And I'm going to ask those who are continuing on chapter to stand and be recognized, because they work really hard too. Anyone here who is on chapter and staying on chapter, please stand. Yeah. Oh, and there's Neil. We're even fortunate to have Neil Malmquist here, who's one of our diocesan representatives. Thank you for being here, Neil. We have a chapter of 16 members. I'm the chair. I vote and voice. And then we have 3 from the broader diocese. 2 are elected by the diocesan convention, and 1 is appointed by the bishop's warden. And then 12 who are elected from within the parish. So 16 very hardworking people. And then at our meetings, we have the executive staff. So Kathleen and Richard and Brooks are at the chapter meetings, and our officers, Betsy, our treasurer, Mark, our chancellor, and Michael, our clerk. So it gets to be quite a big meeting each month, and we bombard them with reports. They get about 12 staff reports every month, so nobody can say they weren't told. And that's my aim is to make sure that chapter has access to as much information as possible about how we are doing. It's a great group of people. We rarely disagree, although everyone's welcome to speak up, and people do. They have their voice heard, but we almost always come to consensus on decisions. And I couldn't be more grateful. There are many parishes out there where the clergy and the board, whatever it might be called in a particular denomination, can be at odds. There can be bullying, there can be toxicity, there can be power grabs, and I have not experienced that here, or actually at my other parishes. We're very, very blessed to have people who are faithful and hardworking and dedicated to making this the best congregation and the best community we can. So I'm just glad to be able to say that to all of you, and to let you know that being on chapter, for future reference, being on chapter is not like a life sentence. It is not a punishment. People actually enjoy being on chapter. And so for future years, bear that in mind. If you get a nudge within yourself or from the Holy Spirit or from somebody else in the congregation to consider standing for leadership in this parish, particularly chapter, don't hesitate. Follow that call. We have lots of other opportunities for leadership in the parish, and I'll take this moment to thank all 7 of our candidates for chapter. I don't think everyone's here, but if you are here and you're standing for chapter, please stand up so we can thank you for being brave enough. Yeah. And while we know that we have more candidates than we have positions, I can assure you that those who are not elected to chapter at this meeting will be put to work. There's lots to do, and now that you have made it known that you're interested in leadership roles in the parish, I have lots of good things for you to help with and to do, so especially going into the interim period, which some of you may know, some of you may not know, that we have a pretty strong structure in the Episcopal Church for a transition between the priests in charge, whether that's the rector or the vicar or the dean. People have asked me if I know who my successor is going to be. No. There is a very deliberate period between the departure of a dean and the appointment and calling of a new dean. There is a whole interim period, usually of 12 to 18 months. So you should not expect to welcome your next dean until probably early 2028. But there will be an interim. Somebody will come in who's been trained to lead in an interim capacity. Probably a very experienced priest, maybe someone who's been a cathedral dean before. Hopefully somebody who has experienced a large parish before with a large staff. And so the bishop will bring somebody to chapter for chapter's approval. And that person will then serve as dean, interim dean. But there are things that interims don't do, and that's when it falls on chapter to really step up and run the secular part of the cathedral's life. So those of you who are standing for chapter this year, the reason I announced my retirement well in advance of this meeting was so that if you had second thoughts after you knew that your job might change a bit, you had a chance to say so. But nobody did, and I'm very grateful. Well, I can take questions while we... Paul Hagan, you got a question?
Does the bishop appoint the interim dean?
The bishop suggests a candidate, and chapter gets to decide if they like them, and they can reject them and ask for a different candidate if they want. But it saves time if the bishop knows who are the trained interims that are available and can bring that candidate forward. Yeah. I see Pat at the back.
Has an interim committee, let me start over. Has there been a committee formed for the selection of the new dean?
No, not yet. That we have an order in which we do things. First, we say goodbye. And we're doing that. We're going to do that over the next 4 months. Rumor has it that there's a party being planned for May 31st, which is Trinity Sunday. It'll be similar, at a similar time to this. It'll be after the 10:30 service, but it won't be here because we think we might need more space for some reason. So mark your calendars for the party. That's my last day as your dean. And then chapter gets to work on selecting a search committee. And they'll be looking for a broad variety of people in terms of demographics and length of time in the parish and so forth. So that search committee will be put together by chapter, and then they'll start their work. They will talk to everybody. They will do focus groups and surveys, and they will create a profile of the cathedral, which will have pictures and statistics and talk about who St. Paul's is and who St. Paul sees itself being. So this all happens after I leave, and I have absolutely no hand in it. I have to stay far away from any decision making. In fact, I have to stay away from the cathedral community itself, so that you can all get over me and not fall into the trap of either trying to call a clone or the opposite of me. So the search committee will do their work. They will go through. They will solicit applications from all over not just the Episcopal Church, the Anglican Communion, in fact. They will screen applications, ask people to write essays. I remember going through all this in 2013, and whittle it down to a smaller number, and eventually bring maybe a very small number of candidates here for interviews with the search committee and the wardens and the bishop. And all of this is kept confidential. That's very much our policy in the Episcopal Church. You don't know who the candidates are. And one reason for that is these people are going to be priests who are currently active in a parish somewhere. And their parishes might get a little upset if they knew somebody was hankering for something else. So they keep it quiet. And then eventually a candidate is presented, or maybe more than one candidate presented to chapter for their ultimate decision on who to call. So it's quite a process. And as I said, I can't tell you anything about it because I'm not going to be asked. I'm going to stay out of it. I will be praying for all of you and for the person who ultimately comes to be your next dean. But I will need to stay away. And that means, sadly, I can't do your funeral or your wedding or your baptism. I have to make distance. I'll be in San Diego, and I bet I'll see a lot of you at concerts and plays and so forth. And we can interact, but we can't talk about church. So that's going to be hard. It's going to be hard for me, I know, because there's so much good stuff to talk about. Oh, this does not say we have an election, sorry. It's another 15 minutes to go. So I'm going to stop talking because I've been talking for a while, and let's just enjoy each other's company for 15 minutes and, fellowship. Okay, I have good news and a bit more patience news. We have an election for chapter. The captors are still working on the lay delegates count, so. But we can go ahead with the chapter election. We have elected, all of us have elected 4 people. I'll read them in alphabetical order. Tom Barr, Giles Kleinert, Mark Lester, and Jeff Pack. Yes, Tom Barr, Giles Kleinert, Mark Lester, and Jeff Pack. So that's wonderful news that we have that. I know that the cantors are taking their job very seriously. Hopefully it won't be too much longer before the lay delegates. You can go ahead with some of my remarks just to give us a break. Let's see, you will have an opportunity to read my written report, which is, I break the rules every year with the length of the report. Kathy says 1 page, please. She gets 5. But you'll get to read that in due course, and that, of course, focuses on the past year, 2025. So I'm not planning to say a whole lot about 2025, but I do want to thank some of the many people who exercise leadership in this wonderful community. And I'll start by thanking this year's wardens, Kimberly Fernandez and Sue Kelly. Thank you so much. And they will serve for 2 years, so even more blessings on them. So I want to acknowledge the really huge contributions of some of our long-term staff and volunteer leaders who have stepped down or are in the process of stepping down. Of course, Canon Martin Green is one of those people. Martin left us at the end of December and will be moving on to New York, I think in early February. And Judy MacDonald also has given 26 years of her life. but also has a very graceful fervour. You know, it's a huge gift to have the stability that long tenures like that provide. It's been a gift to me to have the institutional knowledge that both Martin and Judy brought and gave. So it's a big change when we lose long-time people like that. And then on the volunteer side, our 20-year cathedral archivist, John Will, where are you? Please stand up if you're still here. He had to leave. Tom wasn't feeling well. But John is he's counting. Of course he's counting. We'll give him a round of applause. Thank you, John. Imagine if we didn't have someone focusing on preserving the history of this place. It's so important to be able to go back and look at the artifacts and look at the numbers and the names and see who has been part of the story of St. Paul's. And John has been doing fantastic work moving to the new archives office. If you haven't seen it, come on over to the office suite sometime during the week and we'll show you the beautiful room that we have for the archives, specially designed to be more fireproof and more waterproof than the rest of the building, the rest of the space, so that our archives are well preserved. And John is retiring, and I'm entertaining volunteers. Would somebody like to feel called to be our archivist? Please let me know. I'd love to hear from you. On a similar note, and this feels like a bit like Groundhog Day, last year we acknowledged and thanked Connie Davenant for being chair of the Altar Guild for over 20 years, and Connie is still trying to step back from that, and still giving all she has, and I'm again very grateful. She's worked as canon sacristan through 3 very different deans. I can only imagine how difficult it is to adjust each time. We have an exceptional Altar Guild, and I depend on them enormously, and a lot of that is due to Connie's kind and effective leadership. So she's trying to step back, and again, we're looking for someone to step into that role, but I do once again want to express my thanks to Connie. I also want to thank the coordinators of our adult forums, Donna and Calvin. Where are you? I think you're right in the middle there. Donna Perdue and Calvin Johnson served in that role for the last year. And I'm very grateful to you for keeping our forums running and having speakers there. Thank you very much. I say that Andrew Welsh has agreed to step into that role. I don't know if he's still here. Welsh, maybe that. Andrew is a retired Methodist minister who he and his wife Anne have been with us for a year or so. How many minutes now, Jen? Okay. This year we welcome several new and returning staff. Sunny, Sanjong, Park, as well. Sunny came on board as organ scholar and now is getting into her stride as our interim choir director in the first 6 months of this year. And then it's Michael Lawrence, interim organist. He was here earlier. Michael came to us just a couple of weeks ago and is already improving his chops as an organist. So he's our interim again for 6 months. And then Rich Dawes, who's a long-time staff singer, has joined the team as a music administrator. Because Rich knows the choir inside and out and knows the cathedral, and so he brings all of those gifts and that experience. Succeeding Judy MacDonald as receptionist, registrar, and now also rental events coordinator, there's a long acronym for that somewhere, is Emmy Bissell. Emmy joined us in the fall on a temporary basis, and I'm delighted that she has accepted the invitation to join our permanent staff, and we are in good hands. If you've interacted with Emmy yet, you will know that. She's really great on the phone and dealing with people, and very technically very competent, and just a great team member. On the facility side, we've welcomed back Charlie Owens as part of Jen's Three Wise Men facilities team. Charlie was with us before. I want to acknowledge our staff, but I don't want to do that until the counters come back, because I don't want Kathleen to miss that. So I'm afraid you're going to have to wait now for a few more minutes, rest yourselves, and then we'll move forward to the last bit of my remarks. Many thanks to our counters. That was yeoman's work. I also want, now that Kathleen's back, I do want all of our staff to stand up and be recognised and thanked. Staff, stand up for this prayer. Okay. Late delegate results. In alphabetical order, the following were elected, 5 elections. Lisa Churchill, Jennifer Chow, Sue Kelly, Stacey Clayman, and Alan Muchler. And our alternates will be Diane Lopez Hughes and Blair Schnabel. Thank you all very, very much. Let's wrap this thing up. So, what do I see in the first half of 2026? I see us continuing to attract individuals and families who are longing for a safe space, a place where they can be nurtured in their faith and find chosen family. I see us welcoming more and more young families as our Sunday school grows and flourishes, offering children a place to learn about God's unconditional love and offering their parents a supportive network. I see us continuing to build the next generation of leaders as the millennial generation increasingly takes on the mantle and discovers the joy of investing time, talent, and treasure in this faith community. I see us continuing to develop and strengthen our community partnerships with non-profits and arts organizations and civic leaders, opening our doors ever more widely to our neighbors across the city. I see us taking time in Lent to reflect on individual spiritual growth through quiet days, workshops, and book studies. I see us trying out new possibilities like the meditation hour, yoga, film spirit, and community dinner party ministries. I see us continuing to offer excellent music and glorious liturgy as we open the new music center under our feet and move forward in the transition of the music team. And on that note, I have some news. Chapter has deemed it advisable to offer some stability in our music leadership during the dean transition so that the next dean will have the opportunity to select the next canon for music. I have therefore invited the very distinguished organist, choir director and composer Bruce Neswick, who is a friend of the Cathedral, to serve as long-term interim choir director after Sonny's time with us ends in the summer. Wow. Semi-retirement has accepted the invitation. This is an enormous gift. The choirs already know and love Bruce. He has a long career of developing children and adults choirs. So he'll start in August and stay until the next dean arrives, probably early 2028. As for the second half of 2026, that will be a whole new adventure for me and for you. During my tenure, the motto has turned out to be build it and they will come, and we've done a lot of building. Hopefully by Easter we'll see the last of the construction crews and the Cathedral campus will be ready to move into a bright new future. So I've already talked about something about the interim period and the formal process, so I can move on. I am delighted to announce that I've invited Mark Lester to serve as Dean's Warden, and thank you for electing him. Mark has been Dean's Warden through a transition before, so you're come to the Robinson Cross, and that's why you're all still here. The Robinson Cross is awarded annually to one or more parishioners who have gone above and beyond in their service to God and the Cathedral over an extended length of time. These are not people currently holding paid or elected leadership positions, and for my very last Robinson Cross, I had to think long and hard about who might be appropriate recipients, those who've been present throughout my tenure, who have served the whole congregation. And my thoughts finally centered on someone who was in leadership when I arrived, but who continued in informal leadership after that formal role ended. Someone who I immediately sensed would be a trusted confidant and wise counselor. Someone who's known throughout the congregation for their willingness to share professional expertise and loving friendship. Someone who's always willing to pitch in, helping with activities from stuffing envelopes, to bartending, to emergency assistance, to decorating the church for Christmas. Someone who's been quick to thank the staff in concrete ways for their hard work around the holidays. Someone I have turned to again and again over the last 12 years for truth-telling, support, and acute interpretation. I will be awarding the Robinson Cross to one individual this year. I think you're starting to guess. That individual is Dr. Don Pellion. Chapter members, please remember to come over to the office suite for a very short meeting. I hope there's no other business.
A point of personal privilege to thank you, Dean Penn, for 12 years of leadership, for bringing me on board.
I propose, unless you object, that we close the meeting by, let's just sing the first verse of the hymn. Your agenda.
Let us bless the Lord.